All right, Miss Maida. So tell me, how did you become the English trainer?
So it has been a long journey, and I didn't initially start as an English trainer, actually. I
Hmm.
am a software engineer,
Hmm.
and I came to Saudi Arabia and I explored different things and eventually became an English trainer. I'm also,
That's a very interesting transition from software engineer to English trainer.
it is indeed. Both of those things, actually, teaching and coding are my passions.
Hmm.
And whenever I get time for either one of them, I am doing both. So I'm actually also a school teacher here in Saudi
Hmm.
Arabia. So I'm teaching in British International School
Hmm.
as well. So that's my journey. I wanted to teach not just the school students, but I wanted to know how it feels like to teach ESL.
Hmm.
And so that's how my journey started into looking into ESL and training students with no previous background in English.
Hmm.
Uh, then I took a few certificates, did my diploma in teaching English to students of other languages, my IELTS trainer certificates.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how
So
it started.
at the moment in the school, are you teaching English or the coding?
No, I'm teaching English. I'm teaching
Oh.
actually the homeroom. That's where I love 7, 8 year olds a lot.
Hmm.
I feel they're very nice to teach. They're kind still and not very kiddish.
Hmm.
So as they become teenagers, yeah.
So when it comes to, I mean, you shared your passion with the coding. Do you think that helps you somehow in teaching English?
Yeah, I have students who have analytical backgrounds, who come from technological backgrounds. Some of them have really interest in talking about artificial intelligence and the
Hmm.
new hype.
Hmm.
So, oh, we have fun talking about those topics.
Wonderful. And tell me about your first time experience as a teacher when you went into the classroom. How did you feel as a first time teacher ever?
So, the first time I was teaching was well, the formally when I was started teaching, it was in Riyadh here at an
Hmm.
international school. And it was exhilarating because I
Hmm.
had students coming from so many backgrounds, so diverse classroom. It was incredible. Some of them were fluent in English.
Hmm.
Some of them had no background in English. Literally, we were using hand gestures to talk to them.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it was really enlightening and I loved it. It was challenging at the beginning, both for the students and for me because the language barrier is a huge barrier. But by the end of I think 1 month, I had parents coming in telling me that their kids are fluently speaking in
Hmm.
English. They weren't speaking at all, and that like they're very surprised that they
Within 1 month,
want to
those
speak.
students who were not able to communicate in English well earlier, after one
Yeah,
month they were fluent.
yeah,
Elaborate
they
that
were.
only with the hand gestures and all. How did you do that?
It was difficult in the beginning, I'd be honest.
Hmm.
But it's just, the routine. And when they're immersed in the language and there's no other choice, for
Hmm.
8 hours straight, you must speak in English. That's it. I don't know Arabic. They don't know English, but the teacher won't speak in Arabic. She won't understand you if you try in Arabic. So I would point to the things and I would tell them, this is the bathroom. This is the play area. This is this. And so they would get the hang of it. Eventually, they started communicating with those. And then I started adding to the words. So we made it into a complete sentence, and that they started using those sentences.
Hmm.
So I believe routines matter a lot, and consistency is the most important thing.
Oh.
Because, even for a child who's learning English or any language for the first time, it is the same, right? We're communicating through gestures in the beginning, but
Right.
it comes so naturally, and it's true for any age, actually. I'm
Hmm.
now learning Arabic, and I
Hmm.
have a very soft corner for my ESL students now because I'm firsthand experiencing what they do when
Hmm.
they
When
they
they're
learn it.
learning a new language.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. So just like they say that if you want to learn a language, try to interact with that person who doesn't know your native language. So you have no other option but to talk into this new language that you're trying to learn. You experience the same. Do you believe this is a good strategy? That your instructor doesn't understand your language? For example, just like you are learning Arabic, your instructor, let's say, he doesn't understand English or your native language. Same as if you are dealing with a student who only understands Arabic and you don't understand Arabic and you only speak English. Do you think
Yeah.
this is a good combination and this is how a person should learn the language?
Well, I feel it should be a combination
Hmm.
because it always helps in the beginning if you are able to give them a little bit of an idea of what you're talking about.
Hmm.
So sometimes what I do with my students, even though I'm still a beginner, very beginner level in Arabic,
Hmm.
but I do sometimes tell them what I mean when I say a word and they're unable to understand me, or I show them a picture. It depends. But the other person must understand what you're saying, right? So
Hmm.
unless that is not there, it won't be working really well. So in the beginning, yes, it's important to have scaffolding. That's what the technical term for this is.
Hmm.
So yeah, so in the beginning, yes, I would use the words. I would tell them in what the equivalent of that is in Arabic. But then eventually we would move on and we will completely be speaking in English.
Hmm. When it comes to teaching English or teaching in your classroom, what kind of a teacher you are? Are you a strict one or a lenient one?
It depends really. But I feel like I am really soft.
Hmm.
I get that often. But yeah, I actually my strategy is to see what the other person is all about. So
Hmm.
I plan my lessons according to the student.
Hmm.
Uh, Really, yeah. So I feel if the student is comfortable, um, that's when the learning happens the most. So it has to be student centered. It has to be student led. They have to be the ones questioning, making strategies, uh, taking up topics. So I'm asking them, okay, which topic do you want to talk about? Do you
Hmm.
want me to question you about this? So it's
Hmm.
all student led. But yes, I do sometimes push them so they can come out of their comfort zone. Sometimes they do need that because whenever you're learning a new language, it's natural that you don't have a lot of confidence
Hmm.
speaking it,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, sometimes they need a little push, but yeah, it's mostly student led.
When it comes to the teaching, we definitely try a lot of strategies and we try to come up with so many of the calculations within our mind. As you mentioned, understanding their level, going to their level, providing them some examples or strategies the way they can understand. Did it ever happen that you calculated it so well, or you're struggling so much to communicate a concept or something, let's say any rule, and it was not passing through, and you were receiving some different type of responses from the students, and they are not getting it? Did it
Well,
ever
I
happen?
feel like I'm lucky in that sense
Hmm.
because yeah, it didn't really happen with me. Usually in the school setting, I have different kinds of multimedia to
Hmm.
support that argument. So
Hmm.
I'm not just teaching them verbally. It's also pictorial, it's also video, it's also
Hmm.
their interaction, they're coming up to the board, interacting with the board. So it's the by the time I start questioning them, it's like they're well versed in what I'm telling them about.
Hmm.
Similarly with ESL, I if they're not understanding me verbally, we would just open YouTube, and I would
Hmm.
show them some videos, so it's easier for them to understand. Sometimes even a picture works. They
Hmm.
say picture is worth 1,000 words, so sometimes it really is, yeah.
So, what do you think? How do you think it's more convenient for a learner or for the trainer to teach in person or in the online classes?
Well, even in the in person now we're using so much multimedia, it's
Hmm.
everywhere. It really the whole thing is about the engagement. When you're online, it is sometimes difficult to keep the student engaged, especially if they're young.
Hmm.
Because you're not physically present. They don't they're like, they can just turn off their camera and, so it is sometimes a challenge to keep them engaged.
Hmm.
But I feel like, yeah, there's not a lot of difference, to be honest,
Hmm.
because we're using the same stuff in the school as well. when it's in person as in and online.
Hmm.
But yeah, with adults, definitely engagement is much better, and online is so much better.
All right.
Yeah.
And you try to balance both of the approaches of physical and online classes. How are you learning Arabic language? Is it through the online
I'm
classes?
learning
So
online.
that
Yeah,
means that means you lean towards the online. That online is way
yeah,
better.
absolutely. I feel for adults, online is the be best platform,
Hmm.
really, because the commute and everything, you're just taking
Hmm.
out all of that time. You
Yeah.
can just, take it from anywhere. So a lot of things are much easier with online, especially,
Yeah.
and even with kids, uh, if the teacher is good enough that they can engage them, online is really good. My daughter, she's 7
Hmm.
and she loves to take online classes. It's a new experience for her, so she's really excited about it.
Wonderful.
And especially in Riyadh heat, I feel it's good to stay at home and better not to take them out on the roads in such heat.
That's true. I mean, during the daytime, it's more like impossible, and it's
Yeah.
should be impossible to go out for you. Consider it impossible. And yes, you are right that when it comes to attending the online classes, you are saving your time, you are saving your energy, and you are saving yourself from so many of the different circumstances. As you mentioned about the weather in Riyadh, it doesn't allow the kids to go out. And even when you sit in the car, the first 5 minutes are really, really disturbing. So, yes, I agree with you. All right. Now we are proceeding towards the golden tips segment, where I would request you to give us the golden tips on the different topics. Let's take a start with the grammar. What would be your golden tip to improve the grammar?
I feel for grammar, the most natural thing to do is just to speak
Hmm.
and not feel worried about making mistakes
Hmm.
and be open to suggestions. So like, if you're speaking and your teacher is saying, okay, this could be tweaked into this, it comes naturally.
Hmm.
If an ESL student starts to learn, okay, this is pronoun, this is, continuous word, it's not gonna work because you're learning a new language. It's important to first get the fluency. It's
Hmm.
more important than being correct all the time. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so once you're fluent, sometimes you don't even realize that what tense this is, what verb this is this an adjective, but you're using it correctly.
Hmm.
Similarly with kids, when a child is learning a new language, they don't know what grammar is correct and what is not, but they're able to, string a sentence correctly eventually. So the best thing to do is just practice.
Wonderful. So, when it comes to the vocabulary, what would be your golden tip to improve it?
So for vocabulary, I feel like it's really important to have those words being heard and read and written. So the more senses you involve, the more it will be easier for you to retain those words. So like, for example, if I'm learning Arabic, I'm always asking my teacher to give me some Netflix movies or, seasons that I can watch that are in Arabic, which
Hmm.
will help me improve. And same at the same time, they have subtitles. So I'll be able to know what the word is because the
Hmm.
meaning is coming in English.
Hmm.
Similarly, if I talk with someone um, who is speaking Arabic, that would be a very amazing way to retain the vocabulary.
Hmm.
Also, like I feel I'm also a Toastmaster, so what we do in our Toastmaster meetings is that we have a word of the evening.
Hmm.
So, and we're using that word over and over, trying to incorporate it in our communication. So once you do that, it naturally flows in your vocabulary. So have a word for a day or a week and just,
Hmm.
try to use it, even if you're speaking Arabic, right?
Hmm.
But you know that word, just fill that in a sentence. So that way you will improve the vocabulary.
Wonderful. So it's more about the listening as well. As you mentioned that you're also requesting your instructor to provide you some movies or documentaries so you can read the caption. So it's about listening. So listening, and when you were talking about the grammar, you said the same thing. Even make mistake and take the feedback. So it means you're
Exactly.
listening, and when your instructor is rectifying that. So listening helps you to improve the vocabulary and the grammar as well. How about the speaking? How can someone improve speaking and can become fluent in speaking?
Yeah, so I feel for speaking, the best way to do it is to try. Try
Hmm.
speaking as much as you can. And speaking with someone who knows English well. would really help because it's kind of like, if you're speaking to me in English, my English, I would want to speak in it. If you're speaking to me in Arabic, I would want to switch to my native tongue,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
So it's like that. So if you have some people around that could support you and speaking the language, that is the best way.
So specifically in Saudi Arabia, if someone is trying to learn English, and as you said, try to speak with those who speak English, we don't
Yeah.
find many people out there who are speaking English in English fluently. So from where shall we find those people?
Right, so there are clubs, and as I mentioned, I am part of Toastmasters. It's
Mm.
Mideast Mavericks
Mm.
Toastmasters Club, and it's an incredible platform for anyone who's trying to, hone their skills in speaking English. We have a lot of ESL students coming in. We have a member who's Chinese and trying to learn English, and
Mm.
she's really like beginner level, but she is out there and she's standing in front of people trying to speak, and it's
Mm.
incredible because it's a completely immersive English experience. And if anybody is interested, we meet in Saudi British Center, Al Tawun,
Mm. Mm.
every Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30. Anyone is welcome to join.
MashaAllah. All right. And now proceeding further, how about the pronunciation? How can what's your golden tip to improve pronunciation?
For pronunciation as well, I believe when you're watching movies and seasons, especially if you're targeting, for example, British, it's
Mm.
mm, difficult pronunciation. I would suggest watch Harry Potter. It's a
Mm.
very, very British pronunciation in the whole movie. Similarly, for Americans, it's easier to capture, and there's a lot of stuff available in American English. So
Mm.
just Netflix it. Yeah.
Great. And what's your golden tip to improve writing?
Writing. Well, for writing, I believe writing comes really last because once your speaking and listening is improved, writing should naturally come at the end. But for most of our school type curriculums, writing comes first.
Mm.
So, but yeah, so for writing, I feel if you're reading books, your writing will eventually improve. Of course, you will need help writing, the practicing of it. But if you're talking about the expressions and how to make your writing better, yeah, reading books again would really improve. And I always highlight some expressions that I really love, and books are really good with that.
Mm.
So if somebody is trying to improve the basic English, there are really good books available. And if somebody's already on a good level, then classics are incredible to improve your, descriptive writing, where you're
Wonderful.
describing the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well, before we proceed toward the next segment, I would like to talk about the Toastmaster. As you mentioned, it's available for 7:30 to 9:30 every Wednesday.
Yeah.
If someone wants to join it online, is there any option for that?
We are currently not online, but I
Mm.
believe there are a lot of Toastmaster clubs that work online and they are open to join. All you have to do is to go on the website of Toastmaster International and then you can search over it. And there
Mm.
are, I believe this one is in person, but there are others that are online.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, now let's proceed towards the next segment, which is easiest to hardest. You have to rank all these four modules, which one is the easiest one, and then we will move on toward the hardest one, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And I expect you're going to say writing is the hardest.
No, I believe because as in schools, we start with writing. I
Hmm.
believe it should come last because once the listening and speaking is there, then you build up on writing.
Hmm.
Not talking about the basic writing, of course, the alphabets and those kind of writing, yes,
Hmm.
it should start from the beginning. But like descriptive writing or quality writing, that should be really once the thought processing is there, then it should come. But it is the opposite in our school systems. We're
Hmm.
like immediately following up with writing.
Hmm.
But yeah, I believe that most difficult is to overcome that lack of confidence in a new
Hmm.
language.
Hmm.
So speaking, I feel, is the hardest
Okay.
because yeah, because writing it's introverted, it's in your book, you can just write, you
Hmm.
know. But to have a quality writing, it's important to have that thought process behind it. And
Hmm.
for that, it is really important that a person starts to think in English, then they can write well. So that will only happen once they start speaking. So I believe speaking is the hardest.
So let's go from easiest to hardest. Speaking is the hardest. Which one is the easiest one? And how would you rank? Like number one, easiest, two, three, and the hardest four.
I believe writing, but I would say writing to be the easiest because
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, of course, if you want to produce quality writing,
Hmm.
that would require a lot of work. But
Hmm.
I have seen a lot of people who can write well, but they can't speak well,
Hmm.
because our school systems are designed this way that, you're able to write well, but there's not a lot of thoughts when it comes to public speaking.
Hmm.
Or even when they're listening, they have to make other person slow down because either they're listening or they have to actively translate it into their native tongue.
Hmm.
So I believe, yes, writing I would rank as the easiest.
All right.
Uh, yeah,
Speaking is
then
the hardest. And how about reading
speaking
and
is the
listening?
hardest, and speaking, yeah, listening comes in between.
Okay. So what exactly is the ranking? Is this the writing, listening, reading, and speaking?
You can say that. But reading, I believe, also is pretty easy.
Hmm.
Um, I would actually rank reading the easiest because
Okay.
there is a lot of, when it comes to reading, you don't really have to understand it. That was my problem with Arabic also because I can, I'm a hafiza. I
Hmm.
can,
Mashallah.
I can pronounce the words correctly. I can read Quran really well, but I
Mashallah.
don't know what I'm saying. So
A
you
very
don't
common problem in
necessarily
yeah.
have to understand what you're reading. So
Hmm.
reading, writing, and listening and speaking.
Okay,
That's
wonderful. Now let's proceed toward the next segment, which is this or that. You have to tell me, I'm going to give you two options. You have to select one, books or podcasts.
books or podcasts. For me, books, but I know a
Okay.
lot of people love podcasts, so
Hmm.
it's
Reading
really
silently or reading aloud?
silently.
Big classes or small classes?
Small is better. It's more
Quiet classroom or energetic classroom?
energetic classroom.
Smart student or hardworking student?
Smart students.
Whiteboard or digital screen?
Digital screen.
Dictionary or Google?
Google.
Hmm. Google or AI?
That's tricky, but I would say for basic stuff, AI.
Okay. Learn alone or learn with friends?
Learn with friends.
Okay. Now let's proceed towards the next segment. And in this next segment, I'm going to give you half of the statement and you have to complete it.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to teach when?
Since childhood.
When I was a
All my
child.
family has taught some part of their lives, and
Hmm.
I remember putting my stuffed toys and sitting in front of them teaching. So, yeah, all my life, really.
My students always surprise me by.
When they pronounce something or when they fill in a blank that I wasn't expecting them to,
Hmm.
and so that I understand that they understood me perfectly before. And so
Great.
it's like nice feedback. Yeah.
Learning becomes exciting when
When the other person is also excited about it.
the classroom feels magical when
When I have very positive engagement with the students.
hmm, the best compliment I have ever received is
There are a lot. But yeah, I like it when parents tell me my student, my child doesn't want to go to the other class when
hmm,
they're promoted to the next class. They want to stay with you and they're saying, unless Miss Maida moves with us, we're not leaving. So yeah, that one.
that's good. And now success doesn't happen because
Sorry?
success does not happen because
Oh, because you think about it, it
hmm,
happens when you work for it.
hmm. Every learner should remember
That it's okay to make mistakes.
Very good. I wish students knew.
That not everyone was born with perfect English. Everybody has to work for it. So don't worry, it will come naturally and in time.
Very, very intellectual also. I smile every time.
I smile a lot. There are very few times when I'm not smiling. But yes, I smile every time I have good feedback from my students.
Wonderful. Now we are proceeding toward the next segment. It's a 1 minute teacher. I'm going to give you a few topics and I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute. You would have a minute to deliver us something about that topic. You can select according to your choice. The topic could be pronunciation, vocabulary, confidence, memory, reading, or the topic that you select. Which topic have you selected? And which topic are you going to talk about now?
Hmm. Well, the thing that I'm struggling with most now is memory. I don't know how much my
All right.
students struggle
So
with.
memory is your topic. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Stage is all yours, and you're going to teach us about memory now.
Okay, so when it comes to memory, there are a lot of ways that we can improve our memory,
Mhm,
especially when it comes to language. So, in that context of language, when we're talking about English, and for me right now it's Arabic, the best thing to do is to involve all of your senses. So, if there is a word that I want to commit to my memory, I would want to hear it. I
mhm,
would want to speak it in a sentence so I know how to use that in a context. I would also write it down because when I write it down, I'm using my limbs, my hands, to commit it to my memory.
mhm,
So once you do that and once you read it, it really helps to commit that to the memory. Also, just before a lesson starts, I would quickly go over the things that I've written down and
mhm,
I would speak them in a context before the class begins. And I would ask my teacher to like use all the words, ask me questions about something that would involve those words, and I would be answering with those words in
mhm,
the first 5 minutes of the lesson. That way, it jogs my memory and I am able to commit those words more better to my memory. Other
mhm,
things I do for that is constant retrieval. It's a technical term, but what it means is that instead of doing a full 20, 30 minute session and
mhm,
then at the end asking questions to the students, I ask them questions in between. So every 5 minutes, there will be a question that would jog their memory from like 2 or 3 minutes ago.
mhm,
So, yeah, the best way is to involve all your senses, use constant retrieval, and best of luck. Some of us have naturally bad memory because of age,
mhm.
but we have to counter all of the issues that come our way.
Well, you have reminded me about a training that I once provided, and I prepared for that training. It was learning how to learn. And there I understood the concept of the short-term memory, how to utilize that, long-term memory, how to utilize that.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate a bit that how can we store more into short-term memory and into the long-term memory?
Right. So I believe for the short-term memory, this is the best way to keep the students engaged. Every 5 or 6 minutes, there is a question.
Mhm,
Uh, Even when I'm teaching the students, and I know that okay, this word, they're not very confident in speaking this word.
mhm,
I ask them, do you know what it means? Because they usually students are shy, especially language students. It
mhm,
is difficult for them to say, okay, I don't understand this. So, you have to listen and see what they like and see if they really understand. So I would say, okay, do you know what this means? And they're like, no. And then I tell them what that is. And then I ask them to use it in a sentence. So it could be any sentence, but they have to use that word.
mhm,
Once I realize that sometimes, they do understand the meaning, but they're not using in the correct context, I would give them the context. I would tell them, a couple of sentences where it is how it is supposed to be. And then they would say it, and that's how they commit it to the memory. By
mhm,
the end of the class, I would just go over all the words that
mhm,
were new to them and just ask them a couple of questions that would involve those words
mhm,
and see if it has, stuck with them.
Hmm.
That's the short-term memory. For long-term, you have to study at home, go over the materials on your own, ask
Hmm.
questions the next class. And use those words as much as you can. That's the best way to retain any information.
Wonderful. Well, Miss Maida, it was really an informative session. I really enjoyed listening to you, and I'm sure that whosoever is watching this video is definitely going to get a lot of benefit with all of your tips and the strategies that you have provided here.
Yeah, I hope so. It was really nice to talk to you as well.
Likewise, likewise. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank
Very
you so
kind
very
of
much
you.
for your time. Take care. Stay blessed. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.